Hey guys, Mark Holmes here, and as always, thank you guys for watching, commenting, and subscribing to the Joby Sports Report. Without you guys, man, this literally does not work. You know, I do a lot of videos and I do a lot of talking about football, and first thing I will tell you is I am never always right. I will be honest on that, and I will be the first one to admit when I was wrong about something. And I can be stubborn. But when I believe something, I believe something, and I try and do my research, and when I say something, I like to at least have something to back it up on. You know, be it statistics or be it history repeating itself or things that have happened. You know, rarely is it I'm just go ahead and just throwing something out there just to say, you know, something out there. I do my work behind it. But even with that being said, you're not always right. I mean, you can be a football expert. You can watch every player there is. You can look and say that this guy from a Division I AA school drafted in the 4th round that never had a winning season while he was in college, never going to amount to much, but yet he could end up being a Hall of Famer with 5 Super Bowl rings like Charles Haley. You could have guys that look at a guy like Tony Mandarich, who everybody thought was the can't-miss offensive lineman of all time that was going to revolutionize offensive lines, end up being a bust. That's the thing about being a football person. It's impossible to get it all right. Nobody does. But I try and at least give you the best educated assumption on everything. And when I'm wrong, I'll be the first one to admit I'm wrong. Now, I remember back when we were on the situation about Dez Bryant and the contract. You know, there was all kinds of stuff being said about Dez Bryant off the field, this, that, and the other and stuff. And I remember saying something, and that was typically when wide receivers get their big contracts, the production goes down. And I was basing it at that time on Megatron. Megatron got like $120-some million contract, but he was never the same and was going downhill. And at that time, Larry Fitzgerald had his contract, and he had been going downhill, but he has since turned that around when they changed his position from being the outside and more of the slot receiver. Then his number and production went back up, you know, just because he's got great hands and ability and is deadly with his route running. He was more of the exception than the rule. But typically, when receivers get that big payday and stuff, you know, they're 27, 28 years old, and that's about the time that, you know, football starts catching up to you, where you have a harder time staying healthy. You're beginning to slow down and so on. And so that's where I said that, you know, maybe you're going to see Dez Bryant follow that curve and that trajectory. And I remember talking about Odell Beckham. You know, a lot of people say, man, we should trade for Odell Beckham. And I said, you know what? I don't think I want that guy and his attitude on the team. And he signed that extension last year. And what you look at now is the Giants, they tried to move him last year. They're going to be trying to move him this year because they're looking at the barrel of a $21 million cap hit for this year. And you have to look at the team and say, in the time that you've had Odell Beckham, you know, you had that incredible catch and a loss, which kind of sums up his whole career against us, but they lost the game. He makes incredible plays, but he's a distraction off the field, and it's gotten so now he stays injured a lot. So you look at that $21 million cap hit and say, is that guy worth it? And you go through with, say, Antonio Brown right now and what the Steelers are going through. Steelers going to try and move him, but they're kind of screwed because even if they trade him before the beginning of the league year, March 17th, it'll be a $21 million dead money hit they're going to take. If it's after that, it'll be $23 million. And you look at that and say, what did Pittsburgh win with that guy? Before Antonio Brown came there, they were winning Super Bowls. Since that time, not so much. Which brings us to now Amari Cooper. And Amari Cooper is looking, of course, to get an extension because he's on the last year of his deal. Of course, when I talk about this, people are going to say, of course, you're going to shade it because you're a homer. But there's a little bit of a difference, I believe, there with Amari Cooper. Because Amari Cooper is only 24 years of age right now. 24. Des Bryant was a lot older. Same thing, well, Odell was like 2 years older. So you're still looking at a guy that's relatively young. And attitude-wise, you can see it's totally different. Now, you can see that when he was in Oakland, he was, I don't give an F type of a look and seemed to be lost and disinterested in football being there. But you could say that about pretty much everybody in Oakland right now that doesn't know where they're going to be playing at next year. There's a rumor out that Tucson, Arizona, and Birmingham, Alabama, are looking at trying to be their home teams and split those. So where are you practicing? That means every game you play is going to be a away game next year. So you can see a guy wanting to check out with that kind of a situation. But you can listen to him and his attitude and how he is all in on this team. The fact that yesterday he was talking about the relationship between him and Dak being like ordained, like a message from God, and the way that they click, because make no mistake about it, he has a point. We know what happened when we traded for Roy Williams during the season. That was a colossal pooch screw. That was awful. We got nothing out of him the first year and nothing out of that thing at all. But it seemed like almost instantly Amari Cooper clicked. And Amari Cooper is not a me guy, an Antonio Brown, give me the damn ball and social media type guy. He's not an Odell Beckham that's going to make the playoffs and then fly to Miami to hang out with Justin Bieber and put his hand through the wall. He is a guy that's about winning and being part of the team. And that makes a major difference in the attitude of a player. And one of the reasons why I think you definitely want to keep players like that. You can have people that are fiery and passionate and everything else, but if the only thing they care about is themselves and their own statistics and they're getting paid, then you don't have a team. You have a group of individuals. They may do well because they have more talent, but more times than not, they don't give a F about their teammates and about winning. It's all about me. I'd rather have a guy who's all into doing what it takes to be the teammate. That's not to say that Des Bryant wasn't all in, because Des Bryant didn't care about anything but winning. Don't even put that crap out there that I'm saying that. Because Des Bryant, when he wasn't making touchdowns and things, and he was blocking and leading blockings when they were winning, that's all he cared about. So don't get this twisted. Don't put words in my mouth, because I know how you assholes will do. Excuse my language, but I know how you guys will do. But what I'm saying is, a lot of times you have to look at the situation. When we ended up extended Miles Austin, we didn't look at the body of work before we made that extension. Miles Austin always had injury problems with his hamstring, had one great year. We signed him to a big-ass contract and ended up eating it and having dead money, which is one of those reasons why the Cowboys had been in cap hell for so many years. They ended up paying guys off of one good year. Marion Barber, Jay Ratcliffe, and we kept doing all these things, being team friendly. And unfortunately, doing the right thing by your players goes against winning. And that's the sad part about football. I talked about Allen Hurns and the situation there. The best thing for the Dallas Cowboys to do is not exercise the option. Just let him go. Save $5 million. And if he's healthy, turn around and sign him on a cheaper contract if he clears waivers. That's ultimately the best thing for the Dallas Cowboys. That's not the best thing for Allen Hurns. And it's not necessarily the right thing to do, but that's just the way it is in the NFL. It's cutthroat. But I believe that they should go through and get that long-term deal done with Amari Cooper. I think it'll be a different situation than you see with an Odell or an Antonio Brown and things like that. He is a team player. And the other thing I was telling you about too, it's almost funny because I talked about this morning about signing him to a deal, how we could take that $13.4 million cap hit and sign him, and next year it'd be about 8 or 9. And here it is. I see Sports Track tweeted later on, or after I did that later on, what a contract for him would look like, and it was almost dead on with what I said. It was kind of crazy. So we'll see what happens with Amari Cooper, but I'm glad we got that guy on our team because he really changed the direction of our team. As always, I hope everybody out there is having a great Valentine's Day. I'm going to tell you my opinion on Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day should be every day. Just saying. I'll see you guys soon.